Show. It is about 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am humored a little bit inside, even over the concept of time, because my experience with time has been quite interesting. But this broadcast is not about time. It is about me sharing my thoughts because I had one of the most phenomenal days this passing Tuesday. And the more I approach the 19th, um, the more things seem to be unfolding really, really rapidly. And I know I am very transparent when it comes to my spirituality and also my healing and also my growth, which through my self-reflection, I'm just in awe and really extreme gratitude. And the irony to that is that even in the midst of my awe and extreme gratitude for the growth and for all of the amazing things that are happening in my life, and not just in my life, in the lives of the people around me, I still at 2 a.m. can't sleep because my body is aching, and that to feel the physical pain and have the level of awareness that I have, and also be experiencing these wonderful things unfolding. It's like, okay, I have healed a lot. I have grown a lot. I see and I experience the results of my growth and of my healing. And when I self-reflect on my healing and I self-reflect on my growth, I feel really, 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 really grateful and really good about that. However, I know that there is still more healing for me to do. Um, a lot of it is physical healing at this point, because a lot of the internal work I have done. This physical healing, we'll see. We'll see. I start physical therapy again this week, and I don't even know how it's going to fit into the scheduling of my school because I have a full schedule at school where I'm at school 5 days out of the week, and to add physical therapy to it, I don't even know. I don't even know how the traveling and all of that is going to really, really, really play out. But I trust. I trust the divine. Um, and I, I, um, I'm really, I look at the people that I admire, such as Michael Beckwith. Michael Beckwith is one of the people that I admire. And I know Michael Beckwith has a whole community of people um, that surrounds him pretty much. So Michael Beckwith is always of service a lot, but he definitely takes his time of restoration, and of course has his daily physical practices. Has his day. My legs is really aching me, right? He has his daily spiritual practices. I'm just trying to take my attention off of the pain in my legs right now and just allow divinity to pour through me and to the world. Um, any hoots, you know. I'm just noticing a lot of shifts. I'm noticing a lot of shifts, and it's exciting. and it is new, and it is interesting that when things are shifting, especially shifting for the better, how the ego wants to stay comfortable and wants to stay in the same place and space. However, nonetheless, I feel like my ego has experienced enough to know to sit down, to sit the heck on down and allow the positive shifts to happen and to just stay on course with uh, with all the wonderful things that are happening. They just seem to be happening so freaking fast. And I would love for my physical body and to heal just as rapidly. You know, my muscles are activated, which is good, and I am active, which is good. And I know the pain is a temporary thing, so it doesn't stop me from going forward. However, if there was a healthy way to experience, and I believe the word is hypertrophy, muscle hypertrophy. That's like the muscles are building, you know, for me to experience that without the pain, you know, that would be nice. A healthy way to experience it without the pain. Um, that would be nice. That would be really nice. I would probably be asleep right now. Um, but again, I know the pain is temporary. I don't know how temporary it is, but I know that um, for the most part, doing the right things in regards to my healing and the recovery of my muscles and the recovery of my life. I was talking with a sister today, and I told her I feel like in my third lifetime within the same incarnation. Because it feels I'm learning, first of all, so many new things. I'm experiencing so many new things, and I really finally found the community that I feel is for me. You know, that a community that recognizes me, is nurturing towards me, um, is supportive towards me. Moments where I felt like, oh, this is too much. Um, Maybe there's another route for me. There's always somebody in this community that I am now a part of that's there to encourage me to keep going forward. And the the moments, even if they're just like a few minutes, I value them so much. And there's so many just amazing people. I remember before I even was a part of this community, having a thought about um, hosting a summer camp at my mansion. Hosting summer camp at my mansion. I remember having that thought and thinking, that would be something so nice, and thinking of doing my own lawn concerts. And then I started seeing that there are similar things happening. There's something called Porch Fest that I participated in 1 year, but now I have people that's a part of this wonderful community that are also participating, young people, and it fills my whole soul with joy. Then I met a gentleman whose wife does something very similar. I wouldn't say she has she hosts like a camp where she maybe takes, I don't believe she takes like inner children for like a week into her home. However, she does open up her home to youth um, that may have never even experienced something of that magnitude, and I think it's so important to not just expose youth to um, different positive aspects of life through television, but through like just real life experiences. Traveling, for one, is a great opportunity and a great thing to share with the youth, especially youth who don't have parents that can afford to do those things, who are not in the positions currently to afford to do those things. To still make those things available to the youth is amazing, and to have a sizable home and to be living a pretty abundant life and say, hey, let me share some of this goodness with the youth. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And I, I'm just excited. I'm excited about life in the midst of this physical pain. I'm excited, and um, I know I've shared about my beloved, my beloved sister that has, as Michael Beckwith would say, has something with the mortal chord. I can't even think of his exact wordings, but anyway, she joined the Ancestors recently, and we had plans. We had plans for this week coming right now, and what I decided to do was to continue forward with our plans. Um, and I don't know if anybody's gonna accompany me in the flesh. That would be nice. It would be nice. I had an experience yesterday that was very ghost whisperish, and I know whisperish is not a word, but yeah, and it wasn't the first experience I had, but it was one where I just I I knew I knew where it was coming from. I knew where it was coming from because it was so clear. It was so clear, so clear. And I was just like, oh, thank you, All I can say is thank you because all I can say was thank you. All I can say was thank you and to say, okay, not to question it, not to allow my logic to be like, oh no, oh, don't accept that. It's like, no, accept that. I have been diligent in my growth. I have been pretty much diligent in my exercise. I feel my physical therapy is going to really help me get into a better schedule when it comes to my exercise, because a lot of my exercise now is just at school, you know, just carrying my own weight, literally, because I ain't tiny. So just moving, doing what some people may take for granted is a big thing for me, and because there are still movements that, oh, are not easy, that are, again, simple, like putting on my shoes, tying my shoes, you know, um, getting up, sitting down, simple stuff. Those simple things are still challenges, And unless you're near me, you will never know. You know, if you're near me when I'm attempting to do those tasks that I just mentioned, standing up, sitting down, then you'll know because you'll hear me. You know, getting in and out of a car, those things are challenging. You know, going upstairs. Ooh, I had a whole thing because I went to patronize a business and they didn't have an elevator, and I was just like, they looked at me like I was the issue, and I was like, I'm glad that I look on the surface that all my muscles are strong and healthy, and the majority of them are. But the ones that are needed for mobility, eh, they're building. They're getting there, you know? And I know I look young in the face most of the time, but still, I am over 40. My muscles don't operate as far as rejuvenation as like they did when I was in my 20s. And I wish I knew the things in my 20s about my muscles and about my body that I know now, because I wouldn't be having these conversations. I wouldn't be going through this experience. But I'm grateful for this experience because it opens up my eyes to realize that you cannot just look at somebody on the surface and know internally what they are experiencing, you know? And so just as human beings, we should strive to be more compassionate towards each other and not just make assumptions because of our perception, you know? We should broaden our perception. No, here's an experience I had that was quite interesting. There's an individual, right, that has been a bit challenging for me to interact with for so many different reasons, which I will share. One of the reasons is they, I don't know whether they are dealing with this challenge, have dealt with this challenge, but I pick up the vibration that the same challenge that my son is overcoming is something that they also battled with, you know, and I don't know, and I probably never will know personally what that battle is about, but I know as a loved one, as a relative, you know, what it has felt like, and I can only imagine that for individuals who personally like endure and overcome that particular fight. And the particular fight I'm talking about is the fight with addiction. I can only imagine that their experience is like so much more painful than a loved one who's on the outside trying to help, because a loved one on the outside that's trying to help is only experiencing that pain through a filter. Whereas the person who is dealing directly with overcoming addiction is dealing with that pain straight on, you know, and a lot of times they don't want to deal with that pain, you know, they just want to not even feel the pain. Like, shoot, my legs is aching right now. I don't want my legs to be aching. Aching is not a good feeling, you know. So, you know, I could imagine that whatever pain a person, an addict, is experiencing is not a good feeling either, you know. And so, anyway, that's why it's challenging, because that individual who, again, may have or may is um, battling addiction themselves. They're trying, you know, they're trying their best. They're much older, you know. So in my perception, I feel like you're an elder, you know, and it's not even a me being judgmental. It's just me observing that a lot of the elders in the urban community, um, that have dealt with that or is dealing with that particular challenge, and it's like they have dropped the ball of eldership, in regards to they're not giving proper guidance to those who are younger than them. And, the younger generation had to figure out a lot, especially like my generation. I feel like my generation had to figure out a lot of things on our own. And I realized that was part of somebody else's strategy to to control individuals and to profit themselves. And I get all of the particulars that has the community in the current condition that it's in. Nonetheless, knowing why doesn't fix it. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, the individuals who didn't know, they didn't know. They thought it was harmless. They were just being curious, and they were not warned. My generation was warned, and I don't know about the generation after me. I think my generation was warned, and a lot of us um, did not go down that route because we were warned. But then, as we were figuring out life without really having elders around us to guide us that were healthy, um, they went extra hard. They was like, oh, wait a minute. It worked on this particular generation. It slowed them down a bit. Let's go extra hard with the youth. So they reintroduced and repackaged a lot of different harmful things and presented it to our youth and made it cool, you know, because I will never forget when I was growing up, this statement, crack is whack. Like, that statement was very, very largely programmed into my psyche, and everything was crack. Every drug to me was good. I associated with it. And so it was, for me, having that programming, it was easy to not even be interested, whereas the generation before me, they was not told that. And the generation after me was not told that neither, you know, because unfortunately, a lot of my generation were becoming parents way too soon. And again, we didn't have some of us didn't have our own parents there or elders there to direct us, Um, I was very, 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 very fortunate to have my grandfather's sister at the first decade of my life to give me a strong moral uh, foundation, you know, and to introduce me, even though I'm not a part of um, that religious organization right now, it was a good first school of thought, for me as a child. And I appreciate it for that, I really, really appreciate her, and I appreciate that experience, but then that was just the first decade. Nobody is an adult at the age of 10. There was still so much for me to learn, and it was good to have that foundation. But what came after that, from 10 to 20, oh, shit. Jesus gracious. From 10 to 20. Oh man. That other decade was, whew. And then from 20 to 30, but I'm in my best decade yet. And I have a feeling that my decades are increasingly better and better. And I'm certainly looking forward to moving better mobility. Again, I wish I knew what I know about anatomy when I was in my 20s. I wish I knew it. I wish not only that I knew it, but I wish I was in the spaces to apply the knowledge. But I'm here now. I'm here now in my 40s with knowledge of my anatomy, knowing that the human body is phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Experiencing the phenomenalness, you know, um, and just eager to have it moving in the ways that I know it's supposed to move, number one, and in the ways I desire for it to move, number two, and just for it to fully restore, and to be patient during the process. I would love the process to be rapid and easy and smooth and